Madro John Nad Juanito in Nashville, North Carolina, sitting up above the Aston Park tennis courts. Still a little tennis going on, but these guys are starting to do some grooming on the clay courts over here. Uh, it's about 8 o'clock on Monday, the 18th of August. And I've been running into a situation where I want to have a simple download for people about how it is that I end up homeless, which I've been in and out of in my 3 months back in Nashville, which was precipitated by a medical emergency in Mexico. And I came back here, and it's getting dragged out. It's coming to very positive conclusions in that they're finding no cancer after I spent 2 months believing I was dying of cancer because I got told that in Mexico. But I just don't have the money to subsidize my lifestyle. I have not. My 14 years in Nashville from 2004 to 2020, I always had a part-time job, and that way I was able to have a little spending money. But 5 years on the road, I was traveling and could not do part-time jobs, and have not yet developed coaching on the side, which now that it looks like I'll be in Nashville for a while, I'm going to get serious about doing it here. But I've been poor. And I've been homeless in Nashville and other places. But right now I'm on day 5 homeless, and I'm 78, and it doesn't agree with me. The lifestyle does not agree with me. I can't sleep on benches, can't sleep on concrete, even have trouble sleeping in the grass, and it gets so damp here in the Blue Ridge Mountains, the temperate rainforest. It gets so damp overnight. I have a new sleeping bag, which I got today at ABCCM, Ashwaubenon County Christian Ministries, a wonderful place. So that's good. Sky's beautiful. Sky is beautiful. And I'm working my options for housing quite hard. And may have someplace soon or may not. May not. Why did I end up homeless? In a nutshell, after a kind of a stunningly successful early years, PhD clinical psychology from University of Rochester, New York, which was rated #1 back then. Then 15 years of management consulting, including full-time with AT&T, really, really successful there. Amazingly so for a psychologist. Everybody predicted I could not possibly be that successful. In my early 40s, I went through a perfect storm of life crises, which included leaving that job at AT&T and Chicago, my home, to move to a much less satisfying job with the power company in Cincinnati, Ohio, to be closer to my teenage son. Being closer to him did not make me happier. I rubbed my nose at the fact that he wasn't living with me. He thrived on it. It was great. It was a great time for him. And despite doing really great at my job at the power company, my boss's boss said, "Dad, and everything you touch in this company turns to gold." Well, I really knew the field after honing my craft at AT&T, but I knew it better than the young manager who had only book learning and knew that he did not know it on the streets like I did, and got me fired. Telling his boss, quite honestly, I'm just not comfortable with him around. And he didn't try to varnish it. I'm just not comfortable with him being around. People are comparing me to him in bad ways. I don't like it. I want him out. So I got fired. And my sex abuse memories, which had been deeply, deeply hidden. Clinical psychologists had done every kind of personal growth work imaginable. When that stuff came out little by little, fighting it tooth and nail through dreams, it blew me out. I didn't trust my insides. It shook everything in me. And it was such exquisite pain. 4 years of being sodomized by my crazy uncle, sometimes at knife point, and I did believe I was going to die. And he did convince me it was my fault. There was something wrong about my sexuality. So devastating stuff. Stanislav Grof is a transpersonal psychologist that says, in a perfect world, you would get led then to the shaman, to the spiritual teacher who would say, good, your career is falling apart, your relationships are falling apart, family isn't doing it for you. Now let's do the real work. Who are you actually underneath all that stuff? Who are you? But that doesn't happen in our society, and I got led to the doctors who led me to psychiatrists who, in spite of the fact that as a psychologist and psychotherapist, I fought diagnoses and fought meds, I said, anything, 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 if it can soothe the pain. So I tried. And years later, when I tried to get off them, my really good psychiatrist said, well, the reason to stay on them is so that the pain is a little softer and you don't commit suicide, because I was psychiatrically induced suicidal. Just my life was so awful, so lacking in zest. He also admitted, yeah, those mood stabilizers will knock off the tops, they'll knock off the lows. Yeah, but they make everything else gray in between. So you have to face it, you're just not going to be alive. You're not going to be an alive person, and that's what you always thrived on, was ecstasy and aliveness and high energy. June 26, 2019, Life said, you've done this long enough. I think you've learned what you had to learn from it, and it all dropped in an instant. And I've been happy ever since, until in Mexico in March. I had total renal failure and then got told I was dying of prostate cancer. It's been horrid. And shift back to the U.S., back to Asheville, which I had loved, but feels so strange to me now with my body just not cooperating. And I miss Mexico so much, I never, ever wanted to leave. So it's a very rough time for me right now, including being on the street. I'm using all the local resources, have all my IDs in place, and hopefully housing soon, but we'll see. Yeah. And at my best, my spirits are very good. And I'm calling it all an altered state of consciousness. Hey, you like altered states of consciousness. You believe that people who allow themselves to experience different states of consciousness are freer, happier people. So call it an altered state of consciousness, which it certainly is. And sometimes that helps. Okay.